and Lee Sin, two of those trademark closer junglers banned away. Only the Wukong left up by FlyQuest. Rakan banned away from Busio too. While 100 Thieves are also going to be double targeting jungle here with the Elise and the Vi, along with the Annie flex pick between mid and support. And FlyQuest now thinking about taking away that last trademark closer jungler.
Now remember, this is a best of 5 here today, all about making changes game to game. It looks like the strategy for FlyQuest to start, target down, closer in the jungle, who's really found his way in the second half of this split. As we see Wukong chosen, Kobe, so far no real surprises here.
And I think that is a great strategy to come out, like you say, in a best of 5 when you've got some extra data to work with here. They pinpoint all 3 of those champions that we mentioned, and then closer moves down to the Zhao. Now, Xin has been coming up a bit more recently. It is a very strong duelist as well, so Xin still can allow closer to do some of the things that he has been able to do with the other champions. It's just doesn't have as much mobility as some of the other champions.
It doesn't have the mobility, but it does have early power. It does have strong skirmishing, which when I look at closer and his success and the things that he can do to snowball this team, I think of these 2v2s, 3v3s early on in the game where things can get messy. Over on the other side, the Sion is locked in for impact in the top lane, and Veigar will be locked for Vicla at mid.
I actually love it. FlyQuest said, yeah, 100 Thieves have been formulaic, and we're going to take that formula, and they're going to try and use it. They steal the Wukong, they double ban the Veigar Lucian, and they steal the Sion from
Can I borrow your homework?
Yeah, exactly.
One of those
Just
moments
change
right
it a
there.
little.
Hey, but, you know, if you're FlyQuest coming into this, and I actually wanted to hear your thoughts on this, Kobe. This is a team that started undefeated. We're far and away the best team in the league for many people, but it's been no secret. They've struggled a bit more as of late. I think that, as you saw in the matchup, when FlyQuest took down 100 Thieves in both of those matches, I think this team was at a bit of a better spot overall. What are your expectations that they need to work on and potentially fix here today to be the FlyQuest of old?
The number one thing, and this is self-admitted from the FlyQuest players, is them playing out skirmishes, talking about how they want to actually execute on some of these skirmishes and team fights.
Yeah.
They have not been coordinated. Their communication within even just small fights has not been there. They know that, though, for this entire week leading up to now. It's been the thing that they've been practicing on, so hopefully they'll be able to tighten that up a bit.
And Courage, you said at the start of the draft here that the big deal with best of 5s, you got to be able to make changes, adapt between the games. But the other thing that's interesting, you've only got one opponent to prepare for at the start of the week, right? So, I mean, if you win this game, for what it's worth, anybody who doesn't know the playoff structure out there, a win here today guarantees a locked-in spot in Raleigh for the finals. Doesn't necessarily get you into the final itself, but it guarantees you're going on a road trip.
That's a great point to bring up as well. The playoff pressure is here. DoubleLift has played more best of 5 matches in the LCS than any player in history. I just made that stat up, but I feel like it's true.
I was going to say, good prep.
There was good timing.
I feel like it's true.
There was good timing on a little smirk from DoubleLift too. The classic.
Yeah.
He's going along with the joke. I did want to hit on it on the other side as well. Impact. Obviously, when people are talking about veterans, talking about leaders, he has been the consummate leader within North America. Has led so many teams through playoffs.
Alrighty, well, with the second half of the draft already nearly done, 100 Thieves was double banning AD carry because FlyQuest didn't pick either of their bot lane roles in the first half, and it's going to be Lucian Nami. Now, I'm not going to be shy about it. I'm not going to be modest about it. These picks have been bad when we have been seeing them since the nerfs, but I think if there's anybody that might be able to make them shine, it's Prince and Eyla. Prince is going to have to absolutely go to the deepest depths of his skill to make this champion work because the nerfs hit it really hard. For 100 Thieves, it's going to be a Cho'Gath. It's going to be the Zilean for Bjergsen, the iconic pick here for the mid lane.
And as much as we
FlyQuest and 100 Thieves going at it in a best of 5 to determine who gets to punch an early ticket to the Spring Finals weekend in Raleigh coming up here in just a couple of weeks. FlyQuest started out this split so hot, and 100 Thieves was so not. But in the past couple of weeks of regular season play, things changed around pretty dramatically, and I'm excited to see who's better prepared coming into today, as DoubleLift and Busio have lane swapped up into the top side, and FlyQuest has the whole goon squad roaming around the enemy jungle.
Yep, everybody's looking out for these Sion possible cheese level 1 plays nowadays. So it looks like it will be 100 Thieves power move on top side, trying to get some deeper vision up there, checking around the top lane. see if they can sniff it out.
And Vicla still running around without selecting his first spell, hoping, hey, maybe there's a chance I go Cage first to look for this first blood. And actually, is there a chance here? No, they will not go as, all right, nothing to start at this level 1.
Yeah, one of the things about the early pick on the Veigar here for FlyQuest is that you're showing mid lane is not going to be aggressive lane, and that's what kind of left the door open for Bjergsen Zilean as Tenacity takes 400 HP of damage.
This is a big problem for 100 Thieves here. Spica wants to chase after him. He's saving the dash to try to end up on the same side of the blast cone as Tenacity. Doesn't quite work out. They are going to force the 100 Thieves top laner back. He's not going to have a great start here in the lane. Already had to burn the flash here too on the immobile Cho'Gath. So this is a nice, solid start here for FlyQuest. And as things are already getting spicy at level 1, we're going to toss things down to Jat, who's standing by for a sideline interview.
Thanks, Flyers. I'm here with Fly's head coach, Song, and we just watched the invade by Sion and Wukong. Was that something you guys talked about in draft, or did they make that decision on the fly?
Yeah, we talked about with the main Spica and like impact, like how to make the our better advantage from the level 1. So yeah, we planned it and it was good.
Awesome, good start. And one question about the jungle. I noticed you banned 2 of Closer's champions and then first picked Wukong. What is it about that matchup that makes you want to target Closer's champion pool?
Well, we have a blue side and we have a target ban for the slot bans, and like we have a lot of the strategy, but just first one game, just we tried about the jungle ban and see what's going on.
All right, well, thank you very much. I'll let you get back to watching the rest of the game. Thank you, Song, and let's send it back to the casters.
Yeah.
So something I really wanted to jump on immediately after that level 1 was chunking out a Cho'Gath and getting the flash of a Cho'Gath out of this Sion Cho'Gath lane matchup completely changes the way that you can actually play this game. Because Cho'Gath, so much of his laning power is reliant on having access to the minion wave to be able to get the last hits for your sustain. If you're able to get zoned off the minion wave from level 1, as Impact is able to do, because Spica was able to use his flash and chunk down Tenacity and burn his flash, it just completely neuters Tenacity's early laning phase, and so big punishment there. Then on the other side, Closer, because of the invade, the second ramification is that this Zhao has only 3 camps. Only access to 3 camps, spent so much time around bottom lane, a lot of wasted seconds here for Closer, 400 Thieves, and so that opening, that level 1 for FlyQuest got them big gains on the top side and big gains in the jungle.
Closer will at least be able to secure this bottom side scuttle crab for himself because of the fact that 100 Thieves had control, had the push here in the bottom lane. Impact versus Tenacity up here in the top side. Yes, Tenacity had a hard time early on, but now with the resources just about topped off again, things should return to what you would expect this matchup to look like. Back in mid, Vicla's gone ahead and used his first TP to get back in the lane, going for the boots purchase, going for the tier as well to begin stacking that up very quickly. We know how powerful the Seraph's Embrace is these days on a lot of mid laners.
And one thing I want to point out and ask a question on, Kobe, is 100 Thieves has looked pretty weak at times in the early game throughout this split. Is this a comp right now where they're more than fine, just taking it slow and playing for the late game, or where would you see the win condition is for 100 Thieves in this one?
Yeah, I think the 100 Thieves fans are looking at Bjergsen, they're looking at DoubleLift, and they're breathing a sigh of relief here, because having a Zilean plus Jinx for late game, it means that you're going to be able to revive your front line here, allow the Zhao to play super aggressively, and create a lot of space there for DoubleLift. So yes, their comp scales very nicely, and they shouldn't be too worried as long as nothing else goes disastrous. I have to say, Fly and Eyla so far, Prince and Eyla, excuse me, playing this bottom lane pretty well.
Yeah, you can see the confidence on Prince there, constantly trading the auto attacks on the DoubleLift and Busio, knowing that Busio had the hook, but having the faith in himself to be able to read it and sidestep it when he's so close to the turret, and if you make that mistake, you're guaranteed to be in trouble. That's the kind of confidence I like to see guys playing with. In the game 1 of a best of 5, this is the one where you can really test some things out, see how you line up. As Tenacity wants to get this wave shoved up, Impact able to get a good chunk of damage onto him as he tries to do it and still freezes it. So Impact is fine with the way this top lane is playing out here right now. Remember, both of these guys going to get very tanky. A lot of times these days when we see these 2 top laners specifically matched up against each other, it's a heart steal type of a game where you just rush towards that health stacking and try to see who can become the bigger meatball.
One thing to take note of, remember that early counter jungle we mentioned? Look at the CS difference right now between Spica and Closer. 38 to 23 this early in the game, Closer absolutely going to be playing from the back foot.
And it plays right into what FlyQuest want, their win conditions here. Wukong versus Zhao. Wukong scales really, really well, wants to get to that level 6 for the team fighting, and they effectively were able to dodge all of the super early game dueling power of the Zhao by just sectioning him off to only the bottom side, and then Prince and Eyla playing bottom lane so well.
And one thing also to take note of too, where DoubleLift has been the main win condition in a lot of these games for 100 Thieves and has taken over. He went 46, 11, and 43 across Super Week. Well, his worst matchup this spring split has been against Prince and Eyla in the bot lane. Will they be able to reverse course here, as we might have our first little bit of a skirmish going down to the bot lane?
Yeah, interesting here. Spica's trying to sneak away on Dragon while we have the lane gank from Closer. As long as Eyla and Prince don't overextend, which they have not done so far this game. They've been very good at keeping up their pressure while not giving an opening to Closer. And still, another swing here from 100 Thieves from Closer coming up empty. FlyQuest get the Dragon.
Dragon about to go, but what about the fight after? 100 Thieves still maybe thinking about it. Prince is bumped up by the Nami. Busio gets caught in a bubble, and Spica's ready to chase after. Busio gets out. They had to use DoubleLift's heal as well as Busio's flash. So FlyQuest are going to take the objective and the tempo here in the bottom lane.
Want to shout out the small things that kind of go unnoticed too, that veterans like Impact do. If you're noticing the Sion during that Dragon fight, the Dragon sneak here from FlyQuest, as soon as they saw 100 Thieves push up the bottom lane and start to roam up towards Dragon, Impact started roaming down on the Sion halfway down this river so that he could threaten the Sion ultimate to join if they needed to. And then as soon as they secured it, he's able to get right back to lane, does not drop anything to Tenacity here, although it allows Tenacity to catch up a few CS. Impact still keeping his lead while also providing support to the team if they need him for a team fight.
You love to see that from your experienced top laners, recognizing when it's good to give up a little bit of farm, give up a little bit of EXP to get the rest of the team ahead. Whether Sion or Cho'Gath is 10 farm up on the other one or has a couple of more stacks, nothing's going to matter that much. Their job is just to be the front lines here for these carries that we're going to have our eyes on.
And Spica, because of that early advantage he gets level 6. Closer still having to re-clear. Only level 5 now, does level up, but this is going to be first Dragon and first Herald for FlyQuest. I don't think you could ask for a better start to their game plan. They ban out Closer, try to get the advantage of the jungle. That's exactly what they've got to kick off game number 1 here in the LCS Spring Playoffs.
Yep, double neutral objectives acquired for FlyQuest, for Spica. Really been able to snowball off of that. Veigar early on too, the cage can be super problematic when trying to roam over to plays like that. So far, mid lane, just a farm fest though. Both of these mid laners scaling quite nicely. 77 stacks here so far for Vicla in that mid lane.
And speaking of the mid lane, one thing we always have to consider is the X factor of Zilean. One of the things that can be difficult, the most difficult to play against in the game of League of Legends, is those things that you don't get a lot of practice against. Zilean has such a unique ultimate in the ability to bring people back, and Bjergsen has such expertise and experience on getting that timing down. I want to see how FlyQuest is going to be able to approach this problem as the game moves forward.
Yeah, and the biggest problem for them is that it has synergies with Xin. Xin's out, this basically solo queue style jungle that wants to play super offensively and is very all in. Gets all of a sudden so much more confidence to play with. When you have the speed up from Zilean to allow you to engage, and then the revive to allow you to just continue to stay in there, heal off your auto attacks, play off the ultimate timer of yourself as well as the Zilean to be able to create a lot more space for the team. That is one of the big problems for FlyQuest to have to work around. And we'll see how they navigate those waters. The Veigar cage, as we said, though, can be a really big tool in doing that.
And I'm pretty sure Bjergsen just walked over and helped Closer level up, trying to catch him up in a little bit of XP right there, doing anything he can. As we have 4 players on each side here, as the engage now comes in. Spica pops the ultimate, Nami wave in as well. Closer getting low, does get the resurrect, as you mentioned, plays in so well with Zhao, but he does still go down to the damage of Veigar. That's first blood for FlyQuest, 2 now as well, as it all begins to fall apart for 100 Thieves. Double kill for Vicla.
Meanwhile,
A
up here on the
disaster.
top side, Tenacity's not doing any better. It's coming up FlyQuest across Summoner's Rift. A game that had nearly dead even gold has now exploded to a plus 2,000 lead for Fly, and they're gonna summon up the Herald here in the bottom lane. They'll knock down the rest of the plates, and with this first turret dropping along with all its plates, I would have to think it's gonna be looking like 3,500 gold at 11 minutes for FlyQuest.
That one just looked rough from top to bottom, as we also took note of prior to the matches today. 100 Thieves in the 7-0 streak was down by 2K gold or more in 3 of their 7 wins, Kobe.
Unfortunately for you, this is going to be the or more category.
Yeah, it is.
This is almost 4K, just gets chunked down there a little bit for FlyQuest. But look at this team fight here. Because it's over Scuttle Crab. Closer does get the smite on the Scuttle Crab, and then Spica is ult trading basically with Closer, but Closer stays in because of Bjergsen's revive. Vicla's the one that really profits off this, though. DoubleLift's ultimate goes right through the middle. The bubble coming out of the revive from Eyla, the timing here sets him up. It's just massive, massive stuff. Prince from the bottom side then can push them out. And you can hear the character in-game Veigar laughing at them.
Yeah.
Almost as much as the player is right now, because he just got a bunch of AP as well.
And watching that slow-mo, one thing I noticed, big whiff on the Jinx rocket, big whiff on the Thresh hook, and a whiff on the Thresh cage as well. It's about as worst-case scenario as it could have been for 100 Thieves in that fight, and now down by almost 4,000 gold at the 12-minute mark. Game number 1, a rough start for 100 Thieves.
And FlyQuest really displaying how to effectively utilize ground-targeted abilities on revives like that. People always talk about, oh yeah, you know, GA loses value when you play against Caitlyn because they can just place traps under you. But the timing on the bubble from Nami here, from Eyla, the timing on the W's of the meteors dropping here from Veigar, right when you get back up, immediately shut down there. So good job kind of nullifying that problem that we had posed for them, that question.
A lot of potential action might break out here as 100 Thieves brings a 5-man squad to challenge in the top side of FlyQuest jungle. They want to be able to steal away this blue. Spica's right here. Nice job timing the Q with the smite there to guarantee that 100 can't get anything. And with that, 100 Thieves doesn't want to try to force anything else right now. You're down 2 Drakes, you're down 4,000 gold. They're not in a spot where they can really force anything that's not just going to be a massive numbers advantage for them or something where they already have some inherent reason to expect to win a fight.
Yeah, and it always does feel really bad for the 100 Thieves side when you're facing the Veigar that's building double scaling here with the Seraphs plus Rod of Ages, and that's the one who gets the kills. So now you have the 13-minute completed Rod of Ages, plus it was the early tier stacking that you started talking about, Flowers, where the Seraphs will be stacking up very quickly as Impact's going to give over the rest of the minions to that Veigar so he can continue stacking.
And an interesting thing here, Impact rushed Abyssal Mask as his first item. We do not see this very often. A lot of the time you're going to see something more like what Tenacity has here on the Heartsteel, but Abyssal Mask, helpful when you have some extra magic damage on the team like they have in the Veigar. As Spica leaves his clone over the wall, 100 Thieves looking to get back their own Krugs. They should be able to do that. Spica still trying to contest here for the enemy red, but just in the same way that he stopped 100 Thieves from being able to secure his buff, they will stop him from doing that to them. Now you can see the total gold on the left side of your screen. It's Vicla, Prince, and Spica leading the charge. DoubleLift's the first one to break up that ocean of blue bars, but he's still a good ways behind.
I actually love this Abyssal Mass buy from the Sion here, because look at the front line of 100 Thieves. None of them have any magic resist. You know, because you're going that tank versus tank Heartsteel stack, that's pure HP there. Okay, no magic mantle picked up. So he has one piece, but then the Gore Drinker rush from Zhao. Zhao's not going to build a lot of magic resist early on either, and so the flat reduction of the Abyssal Mask on magic resistance for the enemy front line does mean they're going to have to really worry about these Veigar bombs.
And coming into this game, I think it was safe to say the strength for 100 Thieves was in the team fighting. Well, at what point does the gold advantage become too much that it doesn't matter how good the team fighting is as Closer looks for a second potentially at Impact. On the other side of the map, it's a Rift Herald again for FlyQuest. Do they just go drop that in mid right now to try to bash down the front door?
They absolutely could. They have 4 out of 4 neutral objective ownership so far. The early game has been incredibly FlyQuest favored. I'm at the point already where I feel like 100 Thieves is waiting for some sort of a mistake to capitalize on. Hope that there's some sort of miscommunication on FlyQuest's side, because otherwise it's so hard to find any sort of opportunity to get yourself a good fight here. Mid lane tier 1 turret destroyed is a big deal. It's going to open up the enemy jungle, allow FlyQuest to try to put down more vision, control more of the map. We've got less than 2 minutes before the next Drake spawn, and 100 Thieves is trying to stop this bleeding.
And you should be able to tell most of 100 Thieves' moves by looking purely at DoubleLift, because the Jinx is the core of this composition, and DoubleLift's items are the most important thing on the entire scoreboard there for the 100 Thieves side. So if they can get more money into this Jinx, try and get 2 items to DoubleLift, then maybe they'll think about actually forcing one of those moves. But until they get something like that, it's got to be big numbers advantage. Whoa.
Impact having to flash away there, getting just a little bit too brave in the face of his opponents. The Abyssal Mask isn't doing a whole lot to protect you from Jinx rockets. Vicla and Spica and Eyla all showing up, trying to reinforce his bottom lane tier 1 as 100 Thieves fall back.
Nice little trade there for 100 Thieves. I think you'll take that any day of the week. Also, a great point to bring up. The Abyssal Mask might be a bit of a difference there, not having the Heart Steal on Sion. As the game will slow down for a brief moment to just check back in for those tuning in. This is game 1 in our best of 5 as they spot Vicla in the bot lane, and this looks like the opportunity for 100 Thieves to find themselves an engage. Bjergsen comes on in, it's Tenacity as well, and the kill on the DoubleLift, Kobe. The best case scenario.
And it's a shutdown right into his pockets. That is the hope that you want there for the 100 Thieves side. FlyQuest, though, because 100 Thieves overload the bottom side of the map, they commit all of their members. They're happy to push out on the other 2 lanes. They do lose Vicla, they lose the bounty off his head, but Prince is pushing hard on mid, and top side, they take down the tower with impact.
Now the big thing here is the Drake has also been stopped for the side of FlyQuest because of the fact they killed Vicla. When he does not have a teleport cooldown, when the timer is going to be lined up for the Drake spawn, it means FlyQuest cannot comfortably contest this, so they will not be able to build towards Soul Point. They will not have that threat for the rest of the game. But FlyQuest is saying, all right, fine, no Drake, no problem. We're going to take a tier 2 mid, we're going to take a tier 2 top, we're going to be 5,000 gold up on 100 Thieves.
Kobe, I have my gold 4 expertise here. Was that worth it for 100 Thieves in your opinion, giving up 2 tier 2 turrets?
See, it's all about context.
Okay.
Because you're so far behind in that position, I think it is worth it because, like he says, you can steal away a dragon. Stealing away 1 dragon now means it buys you 5 minutes in the future.
Yes.
And that's 5 minutes that you can load some money onto DoubleLift. So even though you lose so much on the other side of the map, still a good timing to go for that pick.
Yeah.
And to be able to at least get that dragon. But FlyQuest, I think they ran with it. Now the lead is up to over 5,000 gold.
Uh-oh.
Spica was looking for DoubleLift there, not quite gonna find him. Throws out the cage to make sure Tenacity's not able to chase any further. Busio throws out a hook, only finds Impact. The Sion could still be a viable target here. They are gonna focus him and look to take him down, but the dead body's gonna come back to life and look to get something back. Busio is killed, and Bjergsen falls back. He doesn't use the ultimate, he's still got it ready to go. Closer's here on the front line. Now he's gonna be resurrected by Bjergsen, but it means DoubleLift has no way out. A double kill on Vicla. It's 3 dead bodies wearing 100 Thieves colors, and they engaged on Impact and immediately got punished.
Yeah, they take down Impact, but guess what? He signed. He gets right back up, Flowers. The zombie Sion from the grave gets right back up for the re-engage from FlyQuest. And you can see the problem with trying to fight this from so far behind in that last re-engage from Closer. The front line here, 100 Thieves trying to do what their comp is built to do. Zhao, charge forward, get the revive from Zilean, create that space for the Jinx. Problem is, DoubleLift was already chunked down to 300 HP, and Vicla just went and killed him.
Yeah, the Busio hook lands here on Impact, and you'll actually notice the traps missed from DoubleLift, but it's the play from Busio that says, no, sit there, which gives the engage, but at what cost? Well, guess what? It's 3 members as Vicla is just frying in the back, goes with the boots of Lucidity as well for that higher cooldown reduction, so he's able to throw these cages down over and over.
And it was the dead Sion that tore through 2/3 of Closer's health initially. When Closer jumps into everybody and has to gore drink just to get back to 2/3 HP, it's because Sion's dead body was ripping his head off. This engage on a Sion strategy does not work if the enemy team is ready to immediately counter-engage, and 100 Thieves learned it the hard way.
Yeah, and I think they also cannot really afford to dive ever.
Bjergsen with the flash out. Spica looking for something here as FlyQuest invades the enemy jungle. Busio finds a hook, but that's not going to matter. FlyQuest are the ones with control. They're the ones with backup, and now they're the ones clearing out of the vision of 100 Thieves and making Summoner's Rift a very dark and scary place.
Yeah, it's still dark and scary, and they're going for it.
Busio's going to be your target. Remember, he already had to flash away earlier, so they know he has no way out. They commit the Wukong ult for it, but they've still got the ulti of every other character. They've got a 5v4 for 20 seconds, and Baron's the target.
I love a vision toggle right now, and you see it from the team as well. 100 Thieves are like, we would love a vision toggle. Can we have God View? They put a Scryer's Bloom in the Baron pit. Closer here, gonna go for the Miracle Steal. Tenacity has Flash and Cho'Gath ultimate. That's the thing.
That's the thing you gotta remember. Cho'Gath can steal ahead of a smite value. And it means FlyQuest have to be very, very careful about this. If Tenacity is able to make his way into the pit, that could be 100 Thieves' way back into this game. FlyQuest does not want to burger flip this Baron. Prince is going to put the calling into Bjergsen, but only a couple of shots before he gets interrupted. And now with Prince down to 40% HP, FlyQuest is backing away. Busio's back on the map. He's going to rejoin with the rest of 100 Thieves. And 100 Thieves dig in and stop FlyQuest from taking the Baron.
One of the big benefits from merely having a Cho'Gath on your team. A 1400 plus damage, true damage ability to Baron. They stop the Baron with the threat of him flashing over and stealing it. It is a good call by FlyQuest. They know this is a possibility, and guess what? You're up 7,000 gold. That's why you don't want to burger flip, Flowers.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look like FlyQuest wants to give up this turret as the engage comes in from Impact. Teleport behind the 100 Thieves members. It's Vicla on the back line. He says hello and goodbye to DoubleLift. Bjergsen goes down as well. He will have the ultimate, but that does not matter. Closer trying to just get out the lantern to safety. Vicla is a one-man army as he shreds DoubleLift on the back line.
Yeah, he's the Terminator, and he was built to kill DoubleLift. In the last team fight, Closer dives and engages, and Vicla just walks at DoubleLift and finishes him off. In this one, he teleports in and assassinates him from behind. That should be Baron, unless Closer is able to pull some miracle out of his butt.
Gentlemen, we are at an 8,000 gold lead for FlyQuest, and Vicla still doesn't even have a fully stacked Rod of Ages. He still needs to get one more stack before he gets the big bonus from that. Nearly 10,000 gold ahead now. As you can see, the Guardian Angel is completed for Spica, so the Wukong has no concerns whatsoever about engaging. And here's the engage that spells doom for 100 Thieves.
Big knock up there onto Tenacity was kind of a distraction for the teleport. That ward right there in the brush was the death of DoubleLift. Veigar comes in, 2 shots him. Good night.
Man, this is a pretty dire situation for 100 Thieves. There's really not a whole lot left they can do in this game to come back into it because FlyQuest is so far ahead. So I guess what I want to look to now is if you're 100 Thieves, what are you thinking about changing? What needs to be different in game number 2? Because this one got out of control pretty quick.
I mean, I'm going to pass that to you, Kobe, because I have no dang idea.
I mean, one of the biggest factors when you're coming into best of 5s is the prep work that you do for level 1s. There was a lot that snowballed off of this level 1, and that should be the first area that they start. That is something you can fix quickly.
Well, Closer about to die. Survives long enough to get the resurrection from Bjergsen, but what about after the fact? Now Spica's ready to use the ulti. Closer's still in retreat. Impact's here in the front. He's actually going to be the first one killed in this fight overall, and 100 Thieves doing a good job defending. The inhibitor is still standing too. FlyQuest push has not done a lot. Finally, they're going to get the inhib. They will trade their top laner for it, and with a 4v5 man disadvantage, FlyQuest now has to retreat. They may stop off and try to take the Drake, but it looks like they're saying no. Everybody's just going to go back to base and regroup.
Yeah, they don't want to have any sort of opening here for 100 Thieves to cash in on an objective bounty, because with that early dragon that they stole away, they did buy themselves, more time until the soul conflict really comes to its peak. So 100 Thieves, their plan is still the same plan from when they were 5,000 gold behind. It is try and minimize your losses at this point and funnel as much gold and experience onto DoubleLift as you possibly can, because your win con is not going to change mid-game miraculously here for 100 Thieves. It still has to be around this Jinx carry.
Well, FlyQuest is going to get that third Drake here for themselves. Quick note to anybody who just saw the upcoming matches graphic pop up on the screen. No, Golden Guardians and Evil Geniuses will not be playing against the entirety of the LCS. Those are placeholders.
I'd like to see it, though.
So that But I will tell you all that the loser of today's best of 5 will play against the Golden Guardians on Saturday. The winner, of course, will not have to have another game until next week, but that, of course, is still a long way away. FlyQuest pushing up mid lane. Tier 3 turrets already under pressure. Prince grabbing a little bit of damage here through the auto attacks as Tenacity and the rest of 100 Thieves try to hold him off. That Baron Enchanted Cannon minion is going to have the buff for another 2 seconds or so. Oh, just as he was about to shoot the bullet, he loses the buff. Doesn't matter, turret had 1 HP left, and FlyQuest are now on to their second inhibitor of the game. The super minions are pressuring the bottom lanes. Nasty has to deal with it. Mid lane inhibitor falls. Top lane still has the tier 3 turret ready, but Impact is marching up a wave, and FlyQuest are looking to take care of that.
That bomb damage you saw from Bjergsen right there for a moment, but the Nami heals will come on in. Bjergsen trying to stop this lane, as it's 100 Thieves looking for any potential opening at this point. As you mentioned, Captain Flowers, it's got to be a mistake from the FlyQuest side to give 100 Thieves a chance, down 9,600 gold.
And bad news for 100 Thieves. Guess what? FlyQuest have not made very many mistakes this game.
No.
Very, very few mistakes. Really good snowball game from FlyQuest. Taking over jungle pathing advantage with the level 1 invade. Spica snowballing it so successfully. Double neutral objective start. Now all that's left is to go right through the top lane.
Let's see if they're going to hard force this, or if they might just be able to find a pick beforehand. You can see Spica and Vicla in the enemy base using the area they've already won for themselves, the other 2 lanes of inhibitors and super minions, to just provide an alternate angle. Get a little bit of poke here on these guys. Poke against Tenacity is largely meaningless. He does have the Warmogs as the second item, so he can regenerate very effectively, even without going back to the base. Everybody else is trying to stay as safe as possible. If you get hit by one of these Veigar cages, you're in a real bad spot. Tidal Wave flies out. It's just to make space and give a little firing time on the turret here for Prince. Busio goes fishing with a hook, but he doesn't find a whole lot of anything. Meanwhile, Vicla and Spica are utilizing those super minions to apply pressure to a second point. The Nexus turrets are under fire. Tier 3 turret now alone and exposed. Impact, Eyla, and Prince all working to try to take it out, but the backdoor protection means it's still standing.
Look at Vicla. You talked about him being a one-man army before. He's just warding off the whole 100 Thieves team with all these meteors and cages dropping. Finally, that tower does go down. FlyQuest Siege is successful.
And he can do that all day. All it takes is 1 cage to hit, 1 time to just get a Q in, get a W in, and, well, they're gone without even needing to use the ultimate at this point. As right now, DoubleLift and crew trying to do whatever they can to thwart this push.
Vicla's W, the Dark Matter, that does 871 damage, is on a 2.7 second cooldown right now. So that's a lot of rainbows, a lot of meteors dropping.
924 damage now.
Now he just bought his death cap.
Yeah,
That's a big boost.
That thing is going to hurt. The ultimate's probably doing 4 digits of damage at this point. There's just no way you're surviving it without Bjergsen casting the ulti on you. But as we've seen in these fights, Bjergsen's already having to make tough choices. We've seen him throw Busio under the bus just because you can't waste it on Busio when you're this far behind. He's got to save closer or he's got to save DoubleLift. It's problematic for 100 Thieves being this far behind. You've got no time left as Baron has spawned. FlyQuest, you can see once again, placing down vision in this topside jungle. They can take this and then march straight for the end, or they could set a trap, bait 100 Thieves into it, and see what they can get from that. Eyla is forced to flash there, as 100 Thieves were a little bit closer than he thought when he walked through that brush.
All right, Flowers. Now is the point where we ask Courage, do you believe in miracles? Because DoubleLift has at least gotten 3 items Infinity Edge combination here on Jinx. So how hard do you... Okay.
What you don't know is Nade Shot is under the FlyQuest stage, and he's ready to unplug 2 computers.
He might need to unplug more, based on the current state of the game.
Yeah, you're actually completely right there.
Okay, what about this? Drop the dream play. It's not the Cho'Gath that steals the Baron, it's the Jinx rocket.
Wow. Okay. That happens a lot in gold, as it looks like the Baron play has begun. Imagine trying to walk through that point with the Veigar cage. It's Spica on the back line, though, as he gets the knockup. Down goes Closer. No time for an ultimate there, as they've been completely pushed off. Tenacity now stuck in the cage as well. Oh, it looks like it's all but over right now. As also, there's one more! Ultimate has to be used by Bjergsen. They're going to march right on down. This looks like it's going to be game number 1 for FlyQuest. Let's talk about a miracle. 1 versus 5 for DoubleLift. It don't matter how many playoffs he's been in. He's not stopping that. FlyQuest with the ace, and it's going to be FlyQuest striking first here in our best of 5.
This is the FlyQuest we saw in the first few weeks of the split. This is the FlyQuest that was notably absent for the last couple of weeks. And this is the FlyQuest that came to play in this first round of playoffs. They take game 1.
FlyQuest have been cooking all week long, trying to improve on the end of their regular season. And my goodness, did they come out strong in game number 1 here versus 100 Thieves. They throw it down immediately. They say, hey, you've been using very limited champions in your formula for success so far, 100 Thieves. They attack that very specifically.
Yep.
Closer immediately, double band, steal away the Wukong, taking away the Sion on the top side as well. But really, it was about the play over there for FlyQuest.
Yeah, and also that level 1. I mean, Closer was down by almost double CS so early on when you mentioned Zhao, really a champion that needs to make the impact early on in the game. There was just no opportunity. He was playing 5 steps behind the entire way through. You really didn't get to see too much from him throughout it. I also wasn't necessarily too impressed by the Thresh play from Busio. Want to see him be able to make a bit more of an impact, especially with the hooks as it goes on, but that's the reason it's a best of 5.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Eyla has been getting a lot of criticism, nailing Nami bubble after Nami bubble, okay? So really, really big improvements from FlyQuest, changing what they have been doing the last couple weeks in LCS.
Well, with the first game of the series wrapped up, Vive la LCS!